the slip for a whole month.
I'm hoofing it down to the dock. Whoa. Okay, I think I got things lashed down pretty well. We're gonna get into some engine work today.
Step 1, wiping the poop. Done.
Bringing her back to life. It is difficult to keep a wooden boat alive in the Sea of Cortez during the summer. It's hot.
I really didn't take into consideration how hot it might be. You're coming too. Come with us as we navigate our home-built boat around her new playground, the Sea of Cortez. After 8 years and counting of building, we're reborn sailors.
One day we'll be floating in the tropics.
And I won't be wearing these boots anymore. We're Salt and Tar, and this is our life. We're happy to share, and thanks for watching. We've just landed in mainland Mexico.
So we've got a bird claiming squatters' rights. He won't leave. It was all fun and games until he started pooping all over the deck.
I put him under this so many times.
You poop too much, you can't stay.
I know. And I gotta protect the sail.
And get him to walk on top of the sail cover. Come on, there you go. Compromise. That's how we make life work, buddy.
We had the best of intentions coming to San Carlos. Us and our good friend Kinsey, who's just beginning to sink her teeth into boat life, had a fantastic crossing to get here. And riding that excitement, we lined up a slip at the marina for 30 days of project mode. Redaviva has been cruised hard in her first year of sailing. With no major failures and a few obvious upgrades we want to make, we have no complaints about her performance. Life has changed immensely in this past year, and we've been taking it slow, working on our mental maintenance. But now it's time for boat maintenance, and tonight is the calm before the storm. The fenders came out in the morning, and we readied her dock lines. In addition to the slip, we rented an apartment in hopes to escape the heat and retain sanity during this time. There's a reason most people leave the Sea of Cortez in the summer.
Okay.
Because it's hotter than Hades.
You ready to go over the plan?
Yeah.
This is your line, okay?
Okay.
So, I'm just gonna put it right here for now. So when we come up to the dock, your job is to be in this area, and we're probably going to come in pretty parallel to the dock, where I don't think we'll come in at a heavy angle. So pretty much as soon as you can take this line and hop down onto the dock, that's your job. Ruth, stern line for you.
Okay.
Remember, you're the brakes, so that's your sole job.
Okay.
In case we need brakes, you got to be standing by to put a strong wrap on the cleat.
Okay.
Cool.
Aye, aye.
Neutral.
Neutral.
Okay, drive us out. Turn to starboard.
Drive us out, yes. Turn to starboard. Starboard. Starboard.
Easy, but
Let's get this slip.
Someone's excited.
Marina San Carlos. Marina San Carlos. Redaviva.
I will tell a guard to open the gate for you so you can come to the office.
Thank you so much. The mighty captain. Everybody's so nice and speaks such good English. Gets me a little out of practice on my Spanish. You look so cute at the bow watch. I was excited, dock time means amenities, chores, and easy access to resources. Life on the hook and perpetual movement keeps you on the priority list. But there's always a dozen other lists of projects, and this was supposed to be our opportunity to tackle not only necessary ones, but pleasurable ones.
Gracias.
Yeah, this is okay?
Yeah.
Where come from? The boat?
California.
From California?
Yeah.
In the boat?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good trip, boat.
Yeah.
Long way, huh?
Yeah.
Hard working on little fuel and this heat, huh?
Yeah.
Feeling a little lightheaded myself. Getting her lines just right. And I think we're gonna find a spot to go grab a bite on shore and maybe talk project list. But we've got the slip for a whole month, and we've hopefully got an Airbnb lined up starting tomorrow. So we can remove all the cushions, we could sand the cabin sole, we can repaint some things, as well as some other projects on deck. We're gonna try and make the list not too extensive and actually achievable, but we're all pretty excited. Also really excited for the Airbnb with AC and a shower. Yeah. Oh yes. Thank you. We checked in with the office and got our bearings. San Carlos is a major hub for sailors hauling out for the summer. We're here though because it's one of the best hurricane holes in the sea. We're in! Welcome to our pad. These salty gypsies don't know what to do with all the space. Oh my goodness, there's couches. A full kitchen, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Nice. And right across the street from the marina. And we can even see the boat through the windows. Freezer, oh, with ice.
What I just read, can see the ice is same tide.
Woo! Our goal was every morning head to the boat as early as possible. We're entering the hottest months of the year, and thankfully it's less than a 10-minute walk to our dock. It was time to get after it. We've cleared the interior and are focusing on some pretty things, finishing the trim, painting, and all-around bright work. We're not the only thirsty ones. Rediviva is in one of her harshest environments, heat. Wooden boats can dry out and planks can shrink. That's why hauling out and taking off for the summer wasn't an option for us. My pleasure project was designing a mural for the forward head bulkhead, which has been bare since the day it went in. Garrett got Kinsey set up.
I think this one has beeswax in it.
She's oiling or souping every wood in sight. We're trying out a new oil on the interior and good old boat soup for everything on deck. And I'm sanding the western red cedar paneling, really setting the sauna vibe. We had our first successful work day yesterday, all three of us on board, but unfortunately Kinsey's not feeling super well, so she's hanging back today. It is already hot, and yeah, it's about 9 o'clock in the morning and just dripping. It's like we just got out of the water. And we've been slowly trying to get to the boat earlier and earlier, and I think the only time that's not going to be sweltering hot is like at sunrise. Still kind of getting our game plan together. And, you know, when we were wanting to do this sort of work period time, I really didn't take into consideration how hot it might be. And we're just dripping. We just can't drink water fast enough. Oh, my shins are sweating. Look at this. Like, and sawdust is just sticking to me. When heat exhaustion becomes a real thing, we post up in the apartment, and if we could manage to be productive, made baggy wrinkles, which are those fuzzy mophead looking things protecting the sails from chafing on the shrouds. Garrett and Kinsey took on this task, while I'd edit. Thankful to have air conditioning and ice in our glasses, we did the best we could with the situation and tried to keep our cool. Days on the boat consisted of sitting in pools of your own sweat. The companionway dripping caused us to get creative with containing our perspiration. Kinsey and I took a day off and had a girls' day, which got cut short by a freak storm.
Oh, that dock just broke.
Yeah.
Oh,
We quickly sought shelter, dodging roof shingles and debris. We came to learn this is what's known as a haboob, a dust storm that travels fast. It came on like a brown-orange wall, and a neighbor at the dock recorded 70-mile-an-hour winds. Sunset's not for another half an hour. It is dark.
I feel like I should go down to Red Aviva.
Ooh!
It's like there's two of you.
There are two of us.
Yeah. The lightning show was impressive, and the height of the storm only lasted an hour or so before calming down to a reasonable squall, and Garrett could head to the boat.
Whoa. You probably can't see anything, but whoa, it's calmed down a lot. But a big storm. Yeah, that person's headsail is shredded. I'm hoofing it down to the dock to check on Red Aviva.
To truly appreciate in awe of what nature is capable of, you have to slow down and honor her power.
Okay, I think I got things lashed down pretty well. I don't think there's much else I can do now. There's a bunch of stuff just flying into the streets, a bunch of debris, shingles from roofs. Whew. Well, that was exciting. Super glad we have this Airbnb so close. That would have been really sketchy if we were further away. Right where I left you.
Yeah.
How was
Well,
it?
we've just been enjoying the show.
Yeah, it was good. The boat's fine. Everything's good. I put down the solar panels, lashed them up. I took down the headsail, got that lashed up, checked all the dock lines, but boat's perfect.
Awesome.
We're gonna get into some engine work today. I've got to rewire the ignition because I've been having to start the engine with a chisel for the past embarrassingly long time. I just need to run a thicker wire from the ignition down to the starter because there's too much voltage drop and it's just becoming unreliable. But I've just been lazy about getting to it. So that's what I'm going to do today. We're going to pull the engine box off and then I'm going to get into that. And Kenzie's going to do some more sanding or souping work. See how long we last until we melt. And that's the plan.
Yeah.
The length of a workday relied purely on stamina and motivation. While Garrett worked in the sweat ship, Kinzie opted for open air, taking care of the timber above deck.
Okay, step one, wiping the poop. Done.
So I'm getting in under the floorboards here so I can start rerunning the wiring for the ignition, and it's just a really good time for me to get down also and inspect the entire drive line because I've been wanting to do that and meaning to do that for quite some time now, but I just haven't got around to it. And it's actually really nice. It's really good to see. Everything looks great, and definitely I wanted to just some things that I wanted to point out, and I'll get a closer view of the driveline in a second where you can see it. I don't even think I've really looked at it in over a year. I just wanted to touch on a few points. When I was first installing this whole thing, this whole system, the driveline with the double universal joint with the slip yoke and the thrust bearing and all that stuff, I had a lot of people talk about how it was just, you know, that's never gonna work, that's a terrible idea. You can't use industrial or automotive parts in a boat, which, I mean, I understand where people are coming from because it is super uncommon in pleasure boats and sailboats. Where I'm coming from more and what I've seen in the past, which influenced me to do this is a very common thing that you see in commercial boats and fishing boats and all that kind of stuff. There's tons of industrial or automotive parts that are retrofitted, marinized, or whatever, and they've been doing that. Commercial boats have been doing that kind of thing forever. Doing things in this way, it is very time tested. Obviously it has to be done right, and you know, I spent a lot of time doing my homework on, you know, especially like the thrust bearing, and which is another big thing that was a controversial thing that, you know, it was never gonna be able to take the load. It wasn't gonna last in salt and a marine environment, although I crunched the numbers for all that stuff, and this thing just as good as the numbers they had for the thrust bearings for the actual, I think it's called the Aqua Drive. It's like one of the very few companies that actually pre-makes like CV joint systems with the thrust bearing and everything for pleasure boats, more sailboats and stuff, but they're also horrendously expensive because, you know, they're for a boat now. Anyway, all the rambling, like, the point of this by no means is an I told you so. The point is to show that this stuff does work, and it also lasts. I mean, you have to take care of it maybe a little bit more, but you can do it on a much smaller budget. You can make it strong, you can make it last, and you'll probably run in along the way to so many people that tell you You can't do it that way. It's never gonna work. You're dumb for thinking that. People are harsh, but as long as you do your homework, you absolutely can do it. You can do it on a budget. You don't have to think that you have to be some super wealthy person like you see online all the time in these really, really fancy boats. But anyway, there's sweat dripping off my nose. I'll end this little rant there. It's still in like perfect condition. It's just got some very, very light superficial rust. This is the most area where there's some light, very light superficial rust. So the seam of the floorboard is right here. So whenever we come down below after spearfishing or jumping overboard, and all the salt water puddles up right here, and it drips through, probably drips through that crack in the floorboard and just hits that part right there. Again, one of the big things that people were saying is you can't use that because, you know, the whole system will rust out in a year, and that's simply just not true. I mean, even I'll admit 100% I have been terrible on maintenance with this entire boat. The last year I've been horrible because we've been out sailing and we've been tired. You know the story. So I've been awful with maintenance, and I honestly haven't even looked at this driveline in well over a year. Haven't touched it, haven't even popped open the floorboards. I've done nothing. And the driveline's been in the boat for, I don't know, I'm just guessing now, probably around 3 years, maybe more, maybe less. The only thing I did is when I first installed it, I coated it all in a protective grease, which you spray it on and it makes a film, and it works really, really well for protecting steel parts from the elements and from the marine environment. For not being touched in over a year and having salt water dripping down on this, it's still very, very light, just surface rust. I mean, you look under your car, your driveline's gonna be way rustier than this, I guarantee you. Universal joints are still super smooth and super solid. Everything's looking really good. See the other joint down there? There's a slip yoke right there. I'll probably just wipe this down a little bit more and hit it with some more grease, just like I did the first time, and should be good for another year. Now I need to get back to what I was actually starting in the first place, because I have a horrible tendency to get sidetracked. So back to wiring for now. Starboard cap rail almost done. Bringing her back to life. It is difficult to keep a wooden boat alive in the Sea of Cortez during the summer. It's hot, dry, and constantly trying to murder any boat, but especially a wooden boat.
Garrett's running thicker wire for the ignition, which often didn't receive enough juice to start the engine, leading him to jumpstart it. This is not a pleasure project, but a necessary one.
Just finished rewiring the ignition, so all that's left to do is give it a try. Oh yeah, it engaged right away. Sweet.
Up next, we wrap up our time on the dock and in the apartment, and reclaim our wandering souls, reprovision with a new friend, and get the bottom clean to set sail, or so we thought. Hurricane Hillary was named on the day we planned to leave, so it's back to the dock for a wild night.
You can't see anything, but we're dancing in the rain!
If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe so we can see ya next week.